What's your craziest request that's coming here?
I don't know if you're going to ask. I was just going to ask.
You may not want to talk about it, but maybe give a scenario of being like, okay, this is what, and you're like, are you sure that's what you want? Are you, because you as a designer, you have like even if you spec a car these days, you go to Rolls Royce and they go, it's brilliant, but we'd recommend
that guy
something
likes
of
it, but the other guy thinks, what the hell has he just created? Yeah.
Yes, we the craziest request we got, I unfortunately can't share because it's
of course
it's slightly explicit.
If you do damage a diamond actually cutting it, I assume then, well, it's unlucky. Like, have you lost out slightly?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I try not to employ people that's going to be their first time. I look for expertise because exactly if you get that wrong.
I do have to ask, has that happened before?
It has.
We are here with the founder, the CEO, Ogulcan. I'm going to let you introduce your brand because I feel like you are going to do it justice. You've got a passion for diamonds, a passion for design, and really growing something that, like diamonds themselves, is going to be hopefully indestructible in the future.
Before you go any further, welcome back to Freedomimpact Trust, guys.
Yes.
Hi, guys.
So I'm straight into
me.
it. I was so excited about this because like jewelry, design, it's my home. It's where I feel comfortable with. I love it.
I'm not going to lie, on the way to this podcast, I was on the internet Googling a load of different diamonds, just figuring out what's what and how diamonds actually work. And I've realized I fell in love with diamonds.
Right. They're very easy to fall in love with.
Like, fell in love
easy.
with them.
Especially here, the backdrop. If you're
Especially,
watching.
exactly. I feel like a kid in a candy store every time I come in.
So have you always loved diamonds? Have you known?
I always have. Yeah, I was born into the business. It's one of our family businesses in Turkey. And growing up, I had a very close relationship with the business and the brand. You know, I was always intrigued by what my mother's wearing or, what my friends are wearing. Yeah, so it doesn't really feel like work to me.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about it.
Can you ever remember what, like, the first diamond you actually laid your eyes on and was like, wow, I love this?
I do remember, yes. It was actually a paperweight of my dad's desk.
Okay. Not what I thought you were going to say.
Wow. Yeah.
I know. Sounds a bit obnoxious.
I mean, if he doesn't mind lending me that paperweight, I'll
imagine. Yeah, it was his office at home, thankfully, not at the workplace, not at the store. But yeah, I was astonished.
Yeah,
so
and ever since then, you've just fell in love with it. That's
so obviously, as a child, now you're an adult, and now you've got this business. At what point, being part of the family business, coming to London from Turkey, like being like, okay, this is when we're set up, this is going to be the base, and where was that first seed of creating this business? Where was the kind of the dream to making it reality?
Well, my father created the brand 30 years ago. Jewelry is one of his businesses in Turkey. The plan was for me to graduate from university here and then go back and take it over there. You know, I wasn't meant to stay here and open up a shop here. So I kind of strayed away from the initial plan. So yeah, once I finished my studies here, I thought, what better place than here to have a shop, and maybe even in the future to move our headquarters here, because we already have distributors across Europe. We have distributors in Italy, Germany, Austria, Switzerland. So I wanted to have something here in London.
I mean, it's the place to be, the capital city.
It really is.
The best city, one of the best cities.
It's difficult to let go of the city once you live here for a couple of years. Yeah. Once you get a taste of London, good luck anywhere else.
I completely agree with that. I'm a northerner. I weren't from the north, but ever since coming to London, I fell in love with the place. There's so much to do, so much opportunity.
The opportunity on one side, but also that knowing that everybody always comes through London. Wherever you are in the world, you're always going to fly through London, or you know that when you're here, there's always going to be somebody else from wherever you are in the world. And I think that's one thing with your market. It must be so valuable to have that kind of like, okay, you're here, check out the new season, the new opportunities. And the one thing that I want to talk about is your brand. It's so bespoke. The opportunity, it's so unique. It's so identifiable. You are your brand on one side. You're always wearing the jewelry. You're always promoting it. But what is it about these certain pieces that kind of really identify the brand that it is?
Well, I would say you could define our brand identity as high-end multifunctional jewelry. So All of our signature collections are multifunctional and kinetic. In other words, they can move, and you can wear them in more ways than one.
Yes, yeah.
You know, so for example, we have rings that you can expand and become bracelets. We have necklaces that you can wear in 3 different ways.
Wait, did you just say you have a ring which can expand to become a bracelet?
Yes.
I have never seen or heard of something like that.
It's one of our
ever. I
signature
love
pieces.
that.
Yeah. And not only do we offer creations from our own factory in Turkey and our own designers, but we work with different artisans and creators from all over the world. So you get to see a wide scope of futuristic high-end jewelry that no other store or shop or brand in the world offers at the moment.
Do you have to go out and find these creators?
Yes.
Do you
I
go
do.
out and you
I
do
do.
that?
I attend fairs quite often around the world, and I try to scout out collections or designers that are unique.
Yeah.
Is it the personality? Like, say you go into these sort of events, and obviously it's thousands of people with thousands of different designs. What makes the one stand out from you, the artist or the collection, that you think, oh, actually, it's unique for this reason? What draws you to it, considering you've probably seen everything in the business now?
I've seen quite a lot, yeah. So the most important criteria for me is for it to fit our brand identity, which is multifunctionality.
Yes.
So now when I'm looking for a piece or a collection, I don't just look at how aesthetically pleasing it looks. I pay attention at the mechanics of it. You know, if you can move it, if you can wear it in a different way, in a different shape, in a different size. So that's what I really pay attention to.
Do you prefer to work with gold or white gold, yellow gold? How do you prefer to work with when you're like putting your diamonds in bracelets or in rings and stuff?
Well, it really changes. We work with white gold, yellow gold, and rose gold. We don't work with silver.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. But yeah, we work with all kinds of gold.
Oh, perfect. My type of guy. I'm a gold guy. Yellow gold guy.
I'm a gold guy as well.
Yeah, always.
No,
always.
gold is definitely close to our hearts, that's for sure. I don't know why. Dad's always had a gold necklace. We've always worn gold necklaces. I've never taken my necklace off.
Yeah.
For me,
Ever.
it's from our nan. She always used to wear a little gold necklace. It wasn't anything crazy or super amazing, but a little gold necklace with like nice little green emblem on it, and it was just beautiful. And ever since then, gold has been my cup of tea.
Yeah, I love gold myself as well. Yellow gold especially. Sometimes a bit too much.
Yeah.
As I hear, but
Well, I mean, when you've got it all around you like this.
how can I not?
Use
Exactly.
it. I mean,
Talking about stories, like each piece of jewelry is a story to people. Can we talk through the process of, if, say, I walk in and I say, I would like this piece of jewelry, a ring, for example, designed in this aspect. What is that journey? How do they go from like, hi, I want this, to, oh my God, it's here in its beautiful box?
Yeah, do you have like a sketch artist, the whole lot? Like what?
We certainly do. We offer bespoke design. So customers have the opportunity to come in and create an incredibly unique piece that only they will have in the entire world. So how the process goes is they schedule an appointment with one of our designers, a member of our design team. Then they come in, they sit down with a designer. They tell their ideas, whatever's going through their heads. The designer jots it down, goes back, creates different renders for the customer. Then we send it to the customer and ask which ones he likes the most. After that, the designer goes back again and creates a final render for the customer to approve. Once that happens, we acquire the stones, send it to our factory, gets produced. The process in itself takes around, I would say, 4 to 5 weeks.
That's
Total.
pretty quick.
I was going to say it's
think.
faster than I
Yeah.
thought.
That's
it was
very
gonna
quick.
be,
Yeah.
actually.
We're one of the quickest actually when it comes to bespoke design, because you'll find in most other jewelers they take around, some take 3 or 4 months. It's not an easy process.
Because I was going to say, if someone's asking for a coloured diamond or something, did my research, found out a red diamond, I believe, is one of the most rarest ones.
It is
They're
one,
not
yeah.
going to be easy
Yeah.
to find, are they?
Yeah,
and
but
stuff?
precious diamond, fancy diamonds in general are quite difficult to find.
And is this process being brought down to this, as in our opinion, quite quick process because you've been doing it so many years? You have your connections. You're fundamentally ready to go. Everybody that's
do.
there is ready to go.
We do, and what really speeds up the whole process is that we have our own factory and atelier. It's way easier than having another factory do it for you. It makes the whole process a whole lot quicker.
And I think one thing that's intriguing for me is kind of like these kind of pieces, these mechanical movements.
Well, there's one on the screen.
I know.
behind. I've just
It's-
seen
it's
it
quite
rotating
addictive.
One of them
around.
right there, yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the market where, to be honest, in jewelry itself, I find more so, and this market's probably changed, and I would like to think it's going to evolve even more. people can get a lot of jewelry now that everybody knows what certain brands are identified by certain pieces. But with yourself, it's kind of like, well, that is so unique. Do you find that's kind of captivating more people to come your way?
It certainly is, because nowadays people don't want to wear something that every other person out on the street is going to have.
Yeah.
You know, certain big name jewelry brands have become so overexposed in the last couple of years. So we find that nowadays people are looking for something unique, something more authentic, you know.
What do you say you sell more of? Rings, necklaces, or bracelets? Is there anything particular which you sell
In
a
the
lot more
last year, we've sold rings the most, I would say.
of?
There's
Engagement rings and
we do engagement rings as well. You do engagement rings too, but I've realized actually that men are now growing a liking towards rings as well compared to previous years. So we've sold a lot of rings. After rings, I would say bracelets.
when it comes to men and it comes to rings, actually, because I know not all women, but a lot of women, they love diamonds.
I'm surprised you haven't
a lot of diamonds. Well, I've got
You
my...
always wear one or two rings, don't you?
No, I always wear this ring. There's a little story behind it. My granddad gave me this after myself and AJ. Unfortunately, we got attacked in a nightclub one time, and then my granddad gave me this ring, sort of like a get well and good luck thing, and I've never taken it off ever since. Little gold with a tiny little diamond in. I won't get you to look at it because it's probably not. It's probably a very clouded diamond and needs a good clean and stuff. But yeah, but I do love my rings. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one thing, like the market, like you've seen, like the diamond market is growing consistently each year. And I think that one side being female and kind of like, okay, they get the ring, the necklace, it's one stereotype, whereas now that market must be expanding so much, as you said, like guys coming in, and even people wanting. I feel like now it's a present for everything, isn't it? It's like you obviously got Christmas, your birthdays, your engagement. Now it's like a push present. And there's another. What's the latest trend of things that people want? Because within your market, like I feel like everybody's always giving. Everybody's always wanting to be kind and obviously receive at the same time.
And there's no better gift than jewelry.
Yeah, literally, jewelry is
the best gift you can get someone.
It makes you smile from ear to ear. Yeah, that's the one thing. Like I remember, I got my girlfriend Zara like something from here, and it was about that personal touch. It was actually finding a piece that's actually the personality on one side, but also small, and like I think the opportunity is endless when it comes to jewelry.
And I think what's one of the most important things with a gift is that it shouldn't be just something that looks pretty.
Yes.
Like the gift that you got, it was symbolic.
Yeah, 100%.
So the meaning behind the gift is very important as well. Like an evil eye, for example, they believe that if you give someone an evil eye, it protects them from negative energy. So the meaning is quite crucial as well in a gift, I would say.
Talking about the meanings and like the designs behind us, like there's so many different designs. Like how do you come up with like what is going to be the next? I don't want to use the word craze because I feel like that's a negative word, but the next kind of opportunity. Like a lot of jewelry brands have done like functional things, like you can say like I'm going to call it sounds awful when I say this out loud, like mechanical parts, like obviously nuts, bolts, like, and then just turning them, putting them gold and putting diamonds in them. But like most of your jewelry always has a different meaning, and you use lots of flowers, you use lots of like what I would class as like natural, organic kind of
shape symbols.
I'm not finding the right word here. I'm not gonna lie. I'm going
inspired from nature.
Yes. Perfect. That's why you're where you are.
Yeah, because he's got the words and the magic behind it. Actually, I do want to say what's better, the size of a diamond, or would you say the quality? If you're going for an engagement ring or you're going for an investment, quality or size, which is better to look for?
Well, the size is certainly important. There's 4 criteria when it comes to defining the quality of a diamond.
Run us through these, please.
You guys can see.
Yeah.
So it's color, carat, cut, and also the carat, most importantly. So you can really grade a diamond based on these 4 categories. It's not just the size. The quality of a diamond is defined by these 4.
And you see,
and if you say size, I guess carats really defines the size of the piece. Of the diamond. So it's one of the components that define the quality, but it's not the only thing. No.
And I'm probably going to ask a very silly question now, but you see all diamonds are in the shape of, well, a diamond.
No, do the physical cut of it
into that shape, don't they? They don't come how you have these all like in that diamond
exactly.
pointed
They get
shape.
cut. There's different cuts that are available, and they get cut into that shape. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking it doesn't just come out the ground like that.
Like
yeah.
that. No.
For anybody out there that was wondering that,
No.
I am that person.
Things would be so much easier than if only I wish they did. Yeah.
Is that a hard process then to cut diamonds into them shapes? And
It's a very delicate process. Yes.
yes. So do you do it yourself or do you send
We
them
do.
off? Yeah.
We do that in our factory. Yeah. It takes a lot of experience, and as I said, it's a very delicate process. You can damage the diamond while doing that.
I was just thinking, how
Does that
how does
So
somebody
it
do that
takes
the
the utmost
first
care.
time? Yeah, how do you like imagine?
And if you do,
you start small, obviously.
If you do damage a diamond, actually cutting it, I
done.
assume then, well, it's unlucky. Like, have you lost out slightly?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I try not to employ people that's going to be their first time. I look for expertise, because exactly if you get that wrong,
I do have to ask, has that happened before?
it has a couple of times.
We won't go into detail.
You just
I'm
looked
sorry.
down. You had a
Yeah.
painful look down.
I know
there.
my heart
Yeah.
skipped a beat for you then when you said, yeah,
It has.
Yeah.
It has. I mean, accidents always happen, but yeah, we try to minimize that as much as we can.
So for you as a brand, as Kadaro, like the jewelry brand itself, but are you going to grow it as a community more? Are you going to kind of like you're buying into the group itself? Like, how do you see that progressing in the future?
It certainly is. We definitely do have our own distinct community. I believe, as we discussed before, when you buy a piece from a brand nowadays, people are also buying into a certain community.
Yes.
We create a community. I would say one of the ways we create a community is through our exclusive events. We do around 4 events a year.
Yep.
These can be private galas, runway shows. So people get to come and socialize with other fellow Kadaro clients. So there is a sense of community within our brand.
Yeah, which is always nice.
Do you think that kind of like, obviously it's something that you do, and is that more of a publicity thing that you're going to be doing in the future? Because obviously within everything else, it is PR and it is kind of getting to know, or is it more of an internal thing like that spreads the word? Is that you find how it works for you?
It depends the type of event. There's some events where we do completely private. There's no press, there's no PR, and some of our private clients prefer that. One of the most important things in our business is confidentiality.
Yes. Yeah.
People, not everyone wants to know. Well, not everyone wants other people to know how much they're spending or what they're spending on.
Yeah.
So we try to accommodate both. We do private events, and then we do press and PR events, which are larger in scale.
How have you seen the brand actually grow over the past couple of years?
I certainly have, yes.
Yes.
And PR is an essential part of that, really, I would say. And yeah, the events also played a very important part in it. When I first opened up our shop here in Knightsbridge.
How long ago was that? Sorry.
It was 3 years ago.
3 years ago,
Yeah. It was almost during COVID.
Tough time to
Tough
start.
time. Tough time to start a business.
I mean,
Tough time-
anybody that comes
horrible.
out on a stronger note than they went in, and you start in COVID is like,
You're doing something right. Put
Well
it
done
like
to
that. I'll
you.
give you that, yeah.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I was actually meant to open right before COVID.
Yeah.
So I got the space, and I started the construction. And just as I'm about to open, COVID struck. Lovely. So
What was going through your mind at that point? Did you think I could lose the shop where I'm wanting
I
to
did.
get?
I just thought, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Do I pull the plug on the project? Do I just pack up shop, go home, and continue there? What do I do? Because there was no certainty and there was no direction given on how long it was going to
We all thought
last,
it would be
or
3 weeks. and
Exactly.
then-
Exactly.
Yeah.
We didn't know if it was going to last a month, 2 or 2 years. So it was definitely a very scary time for me. But thankfully, things worked out great afterwards.
within the business actually at that time, did you find that, I don't know if this is something you do, like there was an opportunity to buy more jewelry or to purchase more diamonds, or did you see sales within that higher net worth kind of increase, like in the supercars?
Yes, that is
people
an
just
interest-
bought cars straightforward.
Second-hand car market went up, like
Yes.
the second-hand diamond
Certain
market.
markets
yeah.
were grateful for this unfortunate scenario.
Well, yes, some of the pieces that we buy, for example, certain gemstones and even diamonds, they fluctuated a lot in price, but we paid very close attention and we tried to seize that opportunity. So when the prices dipped, that was a great time to buy
Oh,
during
John's
COVID.
thinking perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now's my time to strike.
How do you source these more so the special stones themselves. Like then I don't know what a standard diamond would be, but like, how do you go around?
Yeah.
Is there
a certain country?
It must be a very close network.
There isn't one specific country.
Yeah.
We source gemstones and diamonds from all over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we source from Africa, we source from Brazil, from Latin America, India, everywhere you can imagine.
Does the price fluctuate from the country that you do source it? Oh, it really does.
It does. That's one of the core components, especially in gemstones.
Yeah.
It's important where you source the gemstone from.
So talking about unique pieces, you must have one piece that's very close to your heart that maybe if you design for yourself.
Simple. What's your favorite piece?
Well, would you
Go
talk
on, tell
about
us
that?
about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I'm wearing it actually. It's this necklace, and
I haven't stopped staring at it. I'm not gonna lie.
I was going to mention it. As you walked in, I saw it and thought, God damn, that looks
Bling.
incredible.
That's pretty cool.
No. Oh, John is rocking it today.
Thank you. No, it has a special place in my heart because actually me and my mom designed it together. It has diamonds on it.
Beautiful.
There's yellow fancy diamonds inside the flowers, and it's surrounded by white diamonds.
Oh, it's pretty cool.
It's not one of our signature collections.
No, yes.
But because it's a piece that only I have, and I
But
designed
like you
it.
said, it's meaningful. You designed it with your mum. Yeah, it's got
Exactly.
something more than just
Doesn't get deeper than that.
diamonds. Yeah,
Exactly.
I love that actually.
No, I think like for me, like thinking about that sort of thing, whenever you've got an emotion, a feeling, something, it's
It makes it
priceless.
so much more
So I would
valuable.
presume most of your clients, they're purchasing something. It's going to be an investment, not just into themselves and their family, but it'll be handing it down to their kids. It'll be
Exactly.
a memory that's happened. Yeah, 100%. And I think that's one thing that, especially in this market, like you don't buy to sell. It's not that scenario. You're not.
It's not just the price
not
you're
that
paying.
purchase.
Even for me, I mean, even in my personal collection, I have pieces that I would say are definitely more expensive. You know,
Yes.
with higher quality stones and gemstones, but they don't mean as much to me as this does. You know, because it has a deeper meaning.
Okay, you must have. What's your craziest request that's coming here? I don't know if you're
I
gonna
was
ask.
just gonna ask.
You
I
may
was
not want to
actually
talk
gonna
about it, but
ask,
maybe give a scenario of being like,
Obviously,
okay, this is what, and you're like, are you sure that's what you want? Are you? Because you as a designer, you have a like even if you spec a car these days, you you go to Rolls Royce and they go, it's brilliant, but we'd
Well,
recommend
that guy
something
likes
a bit.
it, but the other guy thinks, "What the hell has he just created?" Yeah.
Well, yes, we the craziest request we got, I unfortunately can't share because it's
Of course.
it's slightly explicit for me to talk about. But man, we had a lot of crazy requests. One of them was, I would say, actually a nose ring.
Okay.
Yeah, a nose ring, and the person. So
So the explicit one wasn't a something else ring,
it wasn't
was
a nose
it?
ring.
Yeah.
It was a ring, but not a rose ring.
Now we're talking. Okay.
It wasn't a nose ring. Yeah. Yeah. It was a nose ring. And so the gentleman wanted there to be studs pointing out from both sides, so from the outside and from the inside. And I said, well, we can't do that because that would be tremendously painful.
Yeah.
But he was so adamant on it, we couldn't do it in the end because, imagine something poking into your nose. Yeah.
That's not good PR.
No, exactly. That's not the PR I want. Cadaver painful jewelry.
Yeah.
No.
Looks good, but cuts you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No, but we've had some other outrageous requests. For example, a client of ours wanted the face of their dog molded into a paperweight for their desk.
Fair enough. I mean, okay.
Yeah. Similar to my father's outrageous paperweight.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is with paperweights. Yeah.
Paperweights, yeah. Maybe that's a niche that you really need to just really
right?
home in on. Like everybody's got a desk. All these people are business people. They've always got a
Yeah,
desk.
and they want to
somewhere.
adorn it with something unique.
This is true.
I'm gonna take this on a slightly morbid question here. To be fair,
no.
I know. Yeah, just hear me out. So sometimes when people unfortunately pass away and they get cremated, they get put into a ring or they say
into
a diamond ring and stuff. So does that actually get
Like
put
an
into a
urn.
real diamond then, or is it turned into a fake diamond? If I can say fake diamond.
When you say put into a ring, you mean like
I think you mean
inside
do
a small
you mean the
capsule?
ashes?
Yes.
Put in,
Like an urn. You mean like an urn
Yes,
necklace?
yeah.
Yes.
And
we
do you
even
do
do that
things like-
actually.
you do
We
that?
do.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah.
do that. We also had certain clients that wanted.
I'm not sure if it's something I would want to. be
That's what I was
fair.
just about to
think it
ask.
would be a
Is
little-
this in your will?
No, it's
Yeah,
not. It's just
imagine.
I've heard people do it. And I thought not something I would.
But
do.
he's
I was just
asking for his
wondering.
own opinion, probably. By the sounds of it now.
Yeah, I mean, if we get the request, we can certainly do it.
Yeah, yeah.
We haven't had that many requests on it though.
Yeah. Just
Do you
wondering.
get requests, for example, you got a gorgeous watch on now, like for people to actually come in and put diamonds onto items that they've already
We do.
got?
We
So
do.
I feel like that's quite a
We do. That's
more and more now.
That's a growing trend now as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, blinged out watches are really a big thing now in the market. I did even to some of my own watches.
Yeah.
The same thing. So yeah, we do that certainly.
Test
we
it
can,
on yourself.
We can put diamonds on pretty much almost anything.
How many stores do you have at the moment currently?
So in Turkey we have 4.
Four,
This is the 5th one, and then across Europe we have around 11 distributors.
Wow,
Not shops, but
Yeah,
basically
yeah,
other
yeah.
shops that sell our
Fantastic.
pieces. Now we're looking to open one in Dubai.
Yep.
the next year.
America at all?
Yes, I definitely want to have something in the States. Hopefully in the next 5 years. That's my goal.
And do you
Awesome,
see it being
awesome.
more stores or more like quite boutique-y, quite areas like...
It doesn't necessarily
Yeah.
have to be stores. I mean, in Europe, we have distributors.
Yeah.
For me, the most important thing is to get our pieces out there to as many countries as we can.
What would be your kind of perfect scenario, like getting your piece on a celebrity or someone famous or someone royal? Like who would be your dream? Like, this is where I want my piece to sit.
We've worked with a lot of celebrities. For example, Claudia Schiffer used to be one of our brand ambassadors. We worked with her. But now I find, especially in the last couple of years, our biggest clients were people that actually are turned off from too much PR. They want a brand that's almost exclusive to them.
Yeah.
So, these things like celebrity endorsements, working with influencers, they're not really our biggest clients aren't attracted to that.
Yeah, and I completely understand that.
Certain members of royal family, for example,
Yeah.
they don't want that. They don't want a brand that everyone is going to know. They want something unique and something special.
Yeah, that makes 100%
I think
sense.
that quiet luxury within kind of
They
billions.
prefer
and
to
them
have
sort of
an
shows.
intimate relationship with their jeweler, basically.
Yeah. And you don't want the average Love Islander influence in it. Yeah, I can say that.
It's okay,
I am
Kurt,
one.
you can
Yeah,
say it.
You said
I
it,
can
not
happily
me.
say it.
You said it.
He says it 'cause he's been on there.
I can say that. Do you do? You actually do? You said you do obviously functional jewelry and stuff, from like a ring into a necklace or bangle bracelet. Can you do a bracelet into a necklace? Do you do something like that? I love my bracelets.
Bracelet into a choker is actually what I'm working on right now. It's proven to be very difficult. We haven't succeeded yet.
Can you talk a little bit about it? What's actually
can.
proven
So,
to be a bit?
I
on the
thought,
hard scale?
first
Yeah.
we already do. We have rings that become bracelets. I thought, what if we play with this idea more? What if we have bracelets that can become tiaras or they can become chokers?
Yeah.
Necklace would be difficult maybe, but
Because
choker is
in my head, what I visualized was just obviously it's something that you could wrap around 3 times, then obviously unwrap it, then it's long enough to stick as a necklace. But
well, yes. In that case, I mean, no mechanics is needed. You just have to adjust the length.
I'm very basic there.
Yeah,
I know.
you just
yeah.
gone for a long
For
rope.
example,
Yeah.
even this necklace I'm wearing, you can actually tie it a bit more and use it as a bracelet. But I thought applying the same mechanics we use for the ring bracelet, you asked me. For that is proven to be a bit more arduous. But for example, a long necklace, as you said, you can always.
And is that due to sizing to be able to actually take it from
That size to this size. Yeah.
12 centimeters to 20 foot? Is that sheer mechanics from size?
Yes, and it's very intricate. It was very difficult.
So there's a lot of small parts, isn't it, to be able to.
There's
do
that,
it.
and also the process itself to create one piece that does that. It takes a long time.
Because within your pendants, the one thing that I love is the way that you can actually the rotation of them and
magic
change.
pendants,
Kind of like going from one color diamond to or just actually covering them. Like that's for me.
So then, when you buy one of those, for example, essentially you're buying 3 pieces in one.
Yeah.
You're buying a necklace that has a single diamond. You twist it on a different occasion. Now you have a necklace that has a ruby face. To a different occasion, you twist it again. Oh, now it's sapphires. So it's that multifunctionality that I love about our brand.
It's that James Bond number plate that just
It's
keeps
a party
spinning.
trick.
Yeah,
Exactly,
I love that.
It's literally a party trick, and I think in that sort of level of kind of status where you go to certain places, like people want to talk about that new thing that kind of like, oh, I don't have that, all my friends have got that.
Or no one else has.
100%. And do you find like in them settings that you can like, oh, actually sell many pieces there? You're like, oh, actually, this one's for sale. Have you ever taken one off your necklet and be like, you know what, you can purchase the one right now off my neck?
On the spot, you mean?
Yeah, on the spot sale.
I've had this has happened to me so many times, but I try to refrain from that because I try not to sell for my own personal collection. Although it happened once, and that it was to a very close friend.
Yes,
but for example,
that's all right. And
it was a very close friend. That's why. But
yeah.
to a new customer, I would never do that
Yes.
because whenever you wear jewelry, there is a certain wear and tear that goes into it, and I would want a client to buy a piece that's
quality,
completely new and never been used before.
Yes.
So no, in general, I would refrain from that. I wouldn't want to sell on the spot. But what happens very often with me is people, I get complimented for the pieces that I'm wearing, and they want to buy it the next day.
Yeah.
So then when that happens, for example, I say, yeah, of course, we have this on the website or we have this in the shop. They come in the next day and they buy straight away. We've made a lot of sales, I would say, through the pieces that I wear, actually.
So you walking and talking.
So you're a business card, basically. You literally are your brand's business card.
I am.
What you do. Yeah.
Talking about you
works.
as your PR through moving around, talking, walking. What's the best bit of PR that you've had so far? Because you've been featured in multiple magazines, but what's the one that you've been like, okay, I'm very happy with this. I think I know what you're going to say, but
my opinion is the best PR, especially if you are the face of your brand, are your personal contacts, the people that you yourself meet. I mean, this has proven to be the case. I've worked with many PR agencies. We've worked with different magazines, different press outlets, which have proven to be beneficial, of course.
Yes. What's the best magazine you've worked with for you, or your highlight of a magazine?
For me,
I mean, they're all amazing, obviously. If
they're all
listening,
amazing.
yeah,
they're all amazing, and they were all very prestigious. But for me, the one that made me happy, as I would say, was to be featured in Vogue.
Oh yeah, okay, it's quite good. I'll give you that.
We were featured in their jewelry section.
Yeah,
I believe 2 months ago for the month of July.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, that was an accomplishment for me. Yeah.
But
we've also been featured in other big name magazines, Vanity Fair. We've been featured in GQ. All these magazines, it meant a tremendous lot to me. It's a stepping stone for the brand. To see your brand be represented in such big name press outlets.
To get into these magazines, did they approach you then? How did that work? How did that all come about?
Yes. Yeah, they actually found us from our feature. I mean, Vogue, for example, they found our brand from a feature in another magazine. Yeah. And that's how they approached us. Yeah.
So, like, one thing, obviously, as you said, which is most important, is your personal circles, the where you move, like who you talk to. Do you find that kind of growing that is the only way that you're going to kind of keep it? It's hard. Like, you want to obviously build a brand that everybody knows about, but at the same time, you want to keep a brand that's quiet. And,
I think
in my personal experience,
they're so individualist pieces. So even if 6 billion people, every single person on the planet had one, they're all going to be individual.
But it's surely a hard decision for you to be like, okay, I don't want just to have Cartier. Let's take. Everyone knows Cartier. Everybody knows what their love bracelet is. Like, everybody. Tom, Dick, and Harry's got one, like, but you want to grow, but you don't want to like create something that everybody's got.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't want to be selling pieces that everyone out on the street is going to have, because then the brand loses its exclusivity. Like you said, Cartier, for example. But I would say different things, different outlets of PR affect different sides of the business. For walk-in clients, we found that things like press articles, magazine features, Instagram ads, they were the ones that were pulling in our new walk-in clients. But for example, for bespoke pieces or pieces that have a slightly higher price point, these came from mostly my personal contacts. Yeah. So both are important. They kind of balance each other out, I would say.
Do you do a lot of hosting for clients that kind of obviously come in? You have got a beautiful store here, but a lot of the time it's more than that. They don't just want to come in. They want to go for dinner. They want the full experience, don't they?
Yes, we do that. Yeah. I don't always get to attend all of them, but if it's someone that I know personally myself, I try to. Because I'm also very involved in the design process myself. For example, if it's a bespoke appointment, I try to be present in the appointment myself as well, because I also guide the designer, and I also try to guide the client as well. And what we can do, what we could possibly do more, and such forth. So because I play a part in the design process, I try to be present.
Do people sometimes come in and literally just say to you, design me something, here's my budget,
Yes.
give me something? Yeah, I don't want the hassle of doing it.
Is that your best day? That must be the best day ever.
Yeah, it sounds like Christmas when you hear that. Yeah. Right away.
Yeah,
I do. I do, especially, for example, this happened to me a few times when I was out. People have come up to me and say, I love what you do. Please, I want this piece. Or I want you, not any design, I want you to design me something. And it's very flattering to hear.
Yeah.
You know, it's...
What, is it kind of, do people think that, oh, are you a designer? Do people ask you like your background a lot of time? Because sometimes you see people run a business, but it doesn't mean that they're actually the heart and soul of it. But with you, it's kind of like, well, actually, yeah, you'd be honored to actually put a bit of your personality in there.
They do. People do ask me if I design myself. I don't design myself. I don't draw the pieces myself. But what happens is our design team creates different renders for me.
Yeah.
Then I sit down with them. We go through them, and I approve or I disapprove.
You do the adaptation.
I get the final say on what the appearance is like. But before we get to that stage, they show me a bunch of different options. Or what happens is I tell them my ideas, similar to our bespoke process. I sit down with them, and I tell them exactly what's going through my mind, how I want it to look, and then they draw it for me, and we go from there.
Let's take a moment to thank our sponsor, FINT.
Do you fancy investing without the faff? Well, then head over to the FINT website now and register your interest.
Kurt, back to the pod.
Yeah.
I just love it. I'm actually lost for words in that sort of aspect.
I have a piece in my mind which I would love to, in the future, come to you and get made. It would be a necklace, and it would be something spinning round. And it'd be about my nan. She loved frogs, and green frog, anything green.
Oh, like a hidden.
I would guess a hidden little all diamonds around the outside.
It's just
gold.
the subconscious curse, because that screen over there keeps revealing that
It
perfect
does.
hidden diamond.
Really, really
and every
does.
time I see it, I'm kind of like, oh,
You guys need one.
That's brilliant.
I will come to you at some point in the future.
Of course, I would love that.
Okay, I want to talk about the investment. Obviously, it's very much an investment into this location. We're in Knightsbridge, we're at the heart of London. There's no doubt about it. Like, what's the biggest investment that you've made into the company, more than just your time? And because I feel like that's one thing that people underestimate. Like, you're launching a business, you work 24/7. Your phone's always on, especially with you. Your contacts are all over the world. Yeah. You don't really have a time zone, that's for sure.
The two biggest investments I've made, firstly, it was acquiring new machinery to our factory.
Yes.
Machinery for jewelry can be very, very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And what sort of equipment is that? Is that like diamond cutting machines or like?
No, it was an equipment for gemstone cutting, and mounting as well. So
does that take lasers then? Is that like a laser that cuts through that? Is it?
Laser is one of the ways. Yes,
Yeah.
It's one of the methods. The second one was I hired 3 new designers for the upcoming collection, because that's one of the things that really keeps the brand young and fresh. I feel like as a brand or even as an artist, you constantly have to reinvent yourself. Yeah. Otherwise, it gets boring.
Yeah.
So I did that. And the investment thankfully paid off.
So do you sometimes bring designers on for just like a set period of time when there's a new collection coming out, and then see you later, next one's in for the next collection?
We do. So when we work with a designer, we don't necessarily have to hire them on a payroll and then they just work for us. We also work with different designers just for a certain piece or just for a certain time period, certain collection. We work with them in different ways.
And do you highlight that this is, for example, within your piece, I always kind of look, it's not like, you don't highlight this as one of one, but most of the time, like, you're looking like, oh, actually, no, this is like one of one. Do you like to number your things, or do you like to be open?
So besides our signature collections, we have around 5 signature collections.
Yeah.
Every single other piece besides that is one-off only.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's
so
pretty cool
good.
to be able to say that, to be fair.
No, in a day and age when profits usually
unless,
priority.
For example, a client sees it in another client and they really want the exact same piece.
Yeah.
We try not to, and we try to guide them away from it. But if they're really adamant, then yes. Sometimes we can have 3 or 4 of the same piece.
Yeah.
But essentially, all of our pieces, aside from the signature collections, are one-offs.
As Kadara as the brand itself, then it's a jewelry brand. Do you see yourself investing into other companies or other avenues? For example, watches, it's hand in hand. It's something that would make perfect sense. Do you look at that opportunity?
I do. The watch industry is definitely something that complements my business. I have other business endeavors that don't necessarily complement jewelry.
Yes.
Which I'm working on. But the thing is, jewelry will always be my main focus, I think, because it's one of my main passions in life. And that's why in the future, I would be open to, we even are taking investments right now, but I would never sell the brand as a whole to someone else.
And is that investments into Kadaro as the brand?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we take investment. However, I would never sell the entirety of the brand.
No.
Because it's something that I see myself doing for the rest of my life.
It's more than just a company to you. It's
more than just work. Exactly. It's my
it
passion.
embodies you.
It does.
Where did the name come from? Kadara.
So
What?
Kadara means Garden of Gold in Latin.
Okay.
And my father came up with it. My father
feathers.
coined it 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm jumping back in. That watch, would you create a watch? Is that something you've looked into doing?
I would love to. Yeah. Watch with diamonds and incorporate our multifunctional mechanics into it. I would love that, yeah.
The way the face can change and the movement.
Exactly. Maybe you can wear
I can
the
just,
watch.
it just makes so much sense. Seeing the screen there, I know I keep saying it, but like if you can't see it, but we keep seeing a screen that has the moving cogs of one piece of jewelry moving to another, and it's so addictive. Like I'm dyslexic, I love touching
different.
stuff, I love
It's
moving
so
stuff.
different.
Like
Me too.
that possibility.
I love the
within a
tactile
watch.
nature of our jewelry as well, that you can play with it, change it. It's the watch industry is definitely an avenue I want to explore in the future, and I would love to create a Kadara watch. Why not? That would be amazing. And I think it really goes with our brand identity as well. You know, the multifunctionality, the kinetics, for sure. That's definitely something I want to explore.
Do you have because obviously, like you were talking about turning a bracelet into a necklace, there's a lot of hidden, intricate parts to it, and sometimes I presume they can. Let's say somebody's been wearing it and they're doing activities, they hit it by accident, it breaks. Is there a warranty on your products?
There is.
Yeah,
There is. We offer a 2-year warranty.
Yeah.
But after that, so there's certain advantages and benefits we offer to our private clients and to clients that spend over a certain limit.
Yeah.
So complimentary repairs and polishing is one of them. It depends on really the damage that's been done, but if it's a minor damage, it's complimentary.
Yeah.
Other advantages are invitation to events, like I mentioned, and discounts on very special days. So yeah.
I'm gonna take a little side swipe here. Kurt's probably gonna think I'm crazy.
Where are you going?
No, usually within podcast interviews, talking like you've got certain people ask certain questions. It's quite generic. And
I'm worried now. Be worried.
No.
I'm worried.
Yeah, I want to know what kind of like excites you, entices you. Like you do it, you have people coming in. We spoke about somebody comes in and says, "Okay, here's a paycheck, and I want this to be made." But what keeps you excited and
An
growing?
even bigger paycheck.
No, I feel like because
Who's not excited by that? Who doesn't get
at the
excited?
end of the day, don't get me wrong. Like we all set up businesses to make money. We're open like that.
Yeah,
Like
a paycheck's not bad.
if it doesn't make money, it's everybody wants to make money. But like, what keeps you at the forefront of it? What like makes you be like moving forward, or opportunity to look into watches, or like because you could quite clearly, you're in a great position here. You could be like, okay, we're gonna stick to doing this. It's working.
Yes. Well, I don't know if you'd believe this, but the paycheck isn't the thing that excites me the most.
Well, we can tell that
Of
you've
course,
said you don't want to
of
just
course,
sell out.
Of course, it's great to sell a piece with a high price point. Who doesn't get happy by that? But for me, it's what excites me the most is firstly the person that's going to wear it. For example, if it's someone that's famous for their style, if it's a known figure, that's the first thing. The second thing that really excites me is how much our brand can grow from it.
Yeah.
For example, there have been certain bespoke pieces that because of them, we've explored and we've learned new techniques of creation and of production. So those two things are the things that excite me
An
the most.
icon sort of scenario. Like you kind of say, I don't know if it's a good point for you. You put Marilyn Monroe, kind of Chanel No. 5. Like there's certain things that kind of work together, or like an Andy Warhol painting, everybody know it. Like you kind of, that's your real pinnacle.
And the most flattering thing, of course, is for these people to seek you out and come to you. You know, otherwise, with the right PR, you can work with any celebrity and influencer these days.
100%, yeah.
It's not, so, yeah.
Because I feel like everything's always going to change, like social media wise, but that sort of opinion of like iconic, you hit the mark there.
Yeah. And also,
I like that.
Sometimes what really flatters me is the importance buying something from my brand has on the client. For example, one of our clients recently has come up to me and said, I've been saving up to buy a piece from your brand. I can't wait to have a piece from Couture. That just means the world to me. You know, the fact that someone would save something from their income that it's not necessarily easy for them.
Yeah.
That just means the world to me. Yeah. The
is-
importance it has for our clients.
Yeah.
Is there like a certain price point you have to come by with you, or is it just there isn't? It's whatever
There's a certain
works?
price for what?
So like, what's the lowest price?
Minimum
yeah,
price.
minimum
point. Okay.
price. Is
So
the one.
before I took over, our minimum price point was quite high.
Yeah.
I would say our cheapest item would start from £10,000.
Yeah.
I've changed that now.
Why?
Because the thing is, I think to be a high-end jewelry brand, you don't necessarily have to be an expensive one. Mm-hmm. You know,
Yeah,
so I wanted to make it more accessible to people without having it lose its exclusivity.
Yeah.
So now we have pieces that are more casual with a lower price point. Now our price point it starts from around £1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it also doesn't come to, I hate to say it, but that's something I didn't really want to talk about today, but like within London or certain markets, you have to be quite conscious about what you're wearing at certain times. Like you still want to be wearing nice
you do.
things,
Yeah.
but like the smaller pieces that somebody wears every single day, they never take it off. It's an emotional
That's another
attachment.
reason.
Like that's
Your brand
it's
gets more visibility.
It's more visibility.
You know, because you get people now that are wearing it every day instead of just on special occasions.
Yeah.
So it's important.
No, I love that.
Yeah, I
Making
love
it more
the brand,
accessible is one thing.
Yeah, I love the brand. To be fair, ever
you.
since looking on the website, I'm gonna be coming in here to
Thank
grab
you.
something.
I appreciate that.
What is your next kind of? It's coming to winter now. What's your next collection? What's your next design? You've done
next
flowers?
move?
Yeah, you've done. Like it must change. You must think, okay, I've got an idea. I want to try this out.
So the next collection we're launching is a men's collection. I wouldn't just say just men's, but it's a very masculine collection.
Yeah.
It's a collection of bracelets.
Yeah.
And wristbands with leather straps. I'm doing an event now in a couple of weeks during London Fashion Week on the 14th. So we'll be launching that collection there.
Yeah.
And also we'll be showcasing some of our signature pieces from around the world. This time around, what'll be different with this event is we'll be showcasing signature pieces from other big name jewelry brands as well. So it'll be a private jewelry exhibition
Yes.
for our clients.
So you'll be kind of side by side against some of your competition.
Exactly.
Do you see it as competition, or do you see it as like that's what they do, this is what we do? We're good at what we do, they're good at what they do.
The thing is, what we do is so different
100%.
than everyone else. You know, before I took over, we were very famous for our decadent designs.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if it's just aesthetic beauty that you excel in and that you specialize in, you're basically competing with every other jewelry brand in the world. Mm-hmm. But that's where our edge comes in to other jewelry brands, because you're not going to find any other jeweler in the world that sells collections of multifunctional jewelry from different creators and different designers around the world.
Which also has that beauty and has that value and has that look.
So far, I haven't encountered anyone that's doing the same thing that we are. I mean, by that I mean, not necessarily selling multifunctional jewelry, because there are other designers that do that.
Yeah.
But a brand that specializes in it, from my knowledge, there isn't one.
Could you see yourself collabing with another brand?
I do. Yes.
Is it
Certainly.
Yeah.
When it comes down to Fashion Week, there's all these big opportunities, like these gorgeous clothes, they're kind of open neck lines, and you're like, is there a brand that you're like, okay, I want my necklace on that neck, I want it
be
to
paired
be on,
with it.
Yeah.
There is.
Especially these fashion houses don't do that jewelry to the quality that you do. Like they do smaller, fun things, but not to what you can showcase. And then an extreme one-off piece with a cut of diamond that even you're like, oh my god, this is a bit scary. I don't want this out in the public.
Well, the thing is, a lot of couture brands lately have been getting my attention, but I would say I couldn't necessarily just say one, but couture brands that are maybe a bit more subtle in their designs.
Yes.
Because then through the jewelry, you can really make your outfit pop. There are certain couture brands that create beautiful dresses, but they have so much detail going on that sometimes the jewelry gets lost. In the outfit. But contradicting to that, if you, on the other hand, wear a very simple dress and it's the jewelry that's your statement piece.
Yeah.
That I think is then beautiful.
It's so nice to be able to talk about something that's so personal, every single piece. Like, I know we should talk a bit more about investment and a bit more about like the inner workings of how you launch a business, but it's quite addictive to talk about the personality of each piece.
Well, it is very intimate. I feel the company, how
the brand
you
itself.
deal with everything. It's an intimate brand.
It is,
and I love that about it. And that's why now, actually, from talking to you, I didn't know you before. We've met once before. That's it.
It sounds awful, but
now
I said,
I want to be here. I want one.
We were stood in here earlier, and Kurs was like, so which parts like, and I was like, no.
Yeah,
stay focused.
All of it, like it's perfect. Like just focus on the interview. Kurt's eyes opened up straight away, and that new opportunity, that new lust, like each design is so unique. Love it.
It is. It really is.
You talked a little bit about you got some other investments. Are you happy to talk about that, or what that kind of passion is, or
some of them I can.
Yeah.
Well, one of my other investments now is I'm opening a concept store in the very near future. It'll be on the same street, just down the street. I'm very excited about that. So it'll have an ever-changing roster of brands. I'm looking to constantly change the roster of brands that we have in there just to keep it fresh and exciting. Yeah. Obviously, there'll be certain brands that are there to stay for good. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I want to constantly have the list of brands be changing. And there might be a health and beauty clinic on the horizon as well. Let's see. It's not certain yet.
Well, if it does, let me know. I could do with a bit of
crikey.
A bit of something. Yeah.
Of course. You don't need it. Both of you don't need it.
Thank you. I'll be needing Botox soon, I feel.
In
my room.
But no, definitely.
A little touch up. But you
Baby
don't.
Botox.
You both
Baby
don't need
Botox, that's the one, yeah.
No, you don't need it.
People think AJ's got it already because his head doesn't move.
I get power now, go bloody warm. But no, definitely, your clients coming here, the opportunities kind of like, it makes sense to really capitalize on that, especially if you're in that same location.
Of course. And also, sometimes I think it's great if some of your businesses can intertwine and overlap. For example, in the new concept store that I'm going to have, there's going to be showcases of my jewelry brand.
Yeah.
I'm even considering if I go through with the clinic, maybe to have showcases there. Who knows?
Do you aim definitely?
But do you aim for that? Like within London, you've got so many high-end kind of hotels and kind of residential buildings that are more than just that. Each hallway's it's a gallery.
Or for example, the
Ritz.
Ritz. You walk into the Ritz and you've got all of the jewelry on each side. And do you kind of think like,
in that hotel, they've got the perfect corner there. You know what? We'll stick a glass stage in there. We'll kind of stick our necklace and change it each month. Do you look into that a lot more?
It's funny you say that. I actually had a meeting.
Because your billboard is everywhere here, especially for your high net worth clientele. It just makes sense. Like, why wouldn't you do it? Like, they'll be happy. You'll be happy. Yeah. Everybody's happy, surely.
Yeah. I actually had a meeting with one of the 5-star hotels in this area.
Yeah.
About having a display inside. So that's something that we're probably going to be doing.
Because we always do the podcast and we always try and come up with like a little business idea at the end that's like would benefit the thing. And the one thing that each time I look around, like you get drawn to it, like you can't stop. Like if you're going to the local whatever
my business idea was the bracelet into the necklace, but he's on it already.
No, he's already on there.
Ahead of time.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
No, but it's the advertising thing because then you advertise into that exact market
that's a great method of advertisement. So there's 2 different locations that I've met with. One of them is a 5-star hotel in this area. The other one is actually a members club that recently opened, and that's a great avenue for PR and attracting.
That makes great sense.
So,
yeah, that makes great sense.
Let's see. Fingers crossed, hopefully.
Well, I hope it all works out for you. Have you ever thought about doing something like sending one of your pieces of jewelry? I'm just going to speak out there because I heard somebody did do this, like to space or to the bottom of the ocean,
we're speaking to that guy,
or to do something very unique that hasn't been done before. Just as a great way of branding.
So we would
send it to space.
So we were talking to Guy.
I haven't yet, but I would love to.
Yeah, so we were talking to Guy, and fundamentally it was a very wealthy client, and he got multiple Bugattis, and he said to make this Bugatti more special than anybody else's Bugatti, rather than collaborating it with someone normal, he was like, no, I don't want like a standard collab. I want something specific. I don't want a Hermes Bugatti. There's a couple of them in the world. I want a Tiffany one. So I want it all Tiffany inside. But then what I want to do really specifically, I want to take a diamond, fly it to space, bring it back down, and put it in the dashboard.
In the Bugatti.
Wow.
So he's got.
I admire the dedication.
This guy, he got
admire
above
it as
it.
well.
And we were like, I just wanted to clap. I was just like,
Me too.
worth it.
I
Like,
love the idea.
but for you, like, it could be something
'Cause
like
it would be
you've done
interesting to
something
see
like
how the
a
diamond gets affected from the pressure and other influences.
Well,
How
that
it's
was-
influenced.
And that's
Once
why
it
I was
comes
thinking
back.
to the bottom of the ocean
Yes.
and bringing it back up from how much
Exactly.
pressure there is actually down
And then
there.
you've got your marine side, you got your fish, your colours, or you're going into space, you got your colours, your greens and blues from Earth looking down independent. Like, and that as a PR thing is something that's really unique.
There's certain
to that
gemstones
point.
that change color according to their environment. There are. So seeing, for example, how
So
they
heat and pressure.
yes.
Yeah.
So seeing how they get influenced from those two environments could be quite interesting, like in space or underwater.
We were literally speaking to Tim Peake, the astronaut, yesterday actually.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
And asking him about different things. Like, that would be amazing to actually make that happen.
Well, actually, that's even a way of doing it.
I'm sure Richard
It's-
Branson, if you reach out, he would.
He'd be willing.
He's the best business guy ever.
Yeah, a link with Virgin.
Why not? Try
Why
it.
not?
Kadara
You're right.
and Virgin. Actually, that would work. Up
Kadara
into
and Virgin
space.
collab.
Yeah, bringing
That'd
it
be
back.
amazing.
Well, I can't wait to see that blimmin' happen then, or something
I
like
would
that.
love that. That'd be
Yeah, it's a
amazing.
great way. I think it's a great way of branding and pushing something out there in a different way, in a unique way.
Yeah,
It
it's
would
not.
be-
It's not your typical. Oh, stick it on somebody's celebrity. No, you do something that the whole world can really
Can know
see,
about.
hear about, know about,
And it's revolutionary. It would change the industry.
and the first time to do it.
Yeah. That'd be amazing. I would love to do that in the future.
I like this.
You guys gave me
I
a
can't
great
wait
idea.
to
Yeah.
see this.
I'll credit you if I do it.
Yeah, just get a better submarine than that little one.
we won't
That-
talk
oh,
about-
yes.
we won't talk about that, AJ.
Something that won't implode, yes.
Yeah.
Just don't use a
Ideally.
PlayStation controller.
Exactly.
Definitely not.
Worse, more like a Game Boy.
Oh yeah,
Not even
30 quid
PlayStation,
controller.
Yeah, and you paid how much for that ticket? Well, that's a whole nother conversation.
That's something else.
Quality is what we've got here, not.
Exactly.
Actually,
sure.
just talking about that, would
Yes.
you ever collab with, for example, something like a PlayStation and do a one-off diamond case for a PlayStation or something like that?
We've done iPhone cases.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Initially, I was thinking, would you do something for a watch?
We've
like
done
an
that.
Apple Watch?
We've done Apple Watch cases.
Yeah.
We've done iPhone cases.
It's done.
Yeah,
He's done it.
This is the
Done.
thing.
Done.
We've done bag buckles. We've done locks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we certainly can, of course.
that's quite
Fundamentally, if you can think it and it's a good concept,
cool.
you can do it.
Yeah,
Of course. When you said PlayStation, I just remembered we're actually now working on an NFT concept.
Okay, yeah.
Having one of their art pieces transformed into an NFT. I don't know much about NFT, OpenSea, and crypto and all that. I'm trying to learn about it now. It does interest me. But yeah,
it's a
that's one of
unique
the-
market.
I think what would be really unique is, for example, if each one of your pieces came with its own NFT and then that concept that you can kind
Yes.
of connect it to it. You're purchasing the piece of jewelry itself
So, yeah.
and then a 3D dimension,
That was the
holograph
idea.
of
So-
it. Like,
And
what
that
we're
gets you
working
there
on
at that event. Yeah,
is basically if you buy a piece,
Yeah.
you buy it in physical form and you also buy it
In digital
NFT
form.
in digital
Yeah.
form. Yeah. So that's the idea. Let's see.
and that becomes your ticket. That's your pass into your club, your kind of whatever it may be.
I know a lot of big fashion houses have gone into it already.
Yeah.
They have their items in the NFT realm. So that's something I'm exploring as well. Let's see.
and then you get like a plot of land or something in the metaverse. I'm thinking.
Oh, we've gone above and
No,
beyond
well,
now,
yeah,
haven't we?
but-
Or a Kadara shop.
A Kadara shop in the sandbox.
Exactly
winning.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cracking idea, actually.
Do you know what's really good? Like, you ended a conversation right here. You got so many different, like the PR side, like the hotel side, or the space, or deep sea. Like, I'm excited to talk again in a year's time. Be like, okay,
I would love to, yeah.
We've talked about like this and that, and seeing what we can actually make happen. I want to be
Definitely
part of
speak
that project.
when you're open in Dubai and over in America as
Hopefully
well.
in the next year, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. I would love to.
Best
Yeah,
of luck with
honestly,
everything, old Jan. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you guys
Please,
for having
please
me.
shout out
been a
to
pleasure.
where people can find yourself personally
Yeah.
and obviously the brand itself.
Let everyone know.
So personally, you can find me on Instagram. That's the only social media I have right now.
That sounds much easier. I've got 2
Yeah,
minutes.
and
It's
that
painful.
sounds peaceful,
Yes.
to be fair,
Yeah,
actually.
and Kadara, you can find our website. You can find our Instagram page, our Facebook page. Our account name is called Kadara London.
Yep.
So please feel free to follow, subscribe.
CADARO.
Subscribe,
Yeah.
like, tell a friend.
For all the dyslexic people out there, CADARO, because I'm
Can
I'm
I
not the
ask
best with that
JJ,
one.
did you have to read the sign when saying that then?
Of course, I did not read it over Ogulcan's shoulder, but I said it correct. That's all that matters.
There's someone holding a sign right there.
And yes,
There we go. CADARO.
Now, well, Ogulcan, thank you so much for coming on. Honestly,
Thank you
it's
guys
been
for
great
having
to
me.
chat.
It's
And
been a
thanks
pleasure.
for giving us the insight into the diamonds and the world that you live and have created here and everything. It's
course.
awesome.
Of course.
And it's
It
awesome.
it is brilliant, and just seeing it grow from year to year, and I'm excited to see where it's going to go, and especially the collabs
smashing
that
it.
are
Thank
definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
I can't wait to find out what this 5-star hotel is. As
Yes, please let me know.
I'll
yeah.
update you guys.
Yeah.
And do they do afternoon tea at all? Because I love a good bit of afternoon
They
tea.
do, of course. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So we can go to afternoon tea there.
Awesome. Yeah.
Hopefully, if the collaboration goes through.
when the collab.
When
An
the
extra
collaboration
push.
goes
Yeah.
through.
I'll say.
If not, we go somewhere else for afternoon.
Yeah.
We choose another hotel.
I love that. I love that.
Honestly, yeah, no, thank you, and
Thank
Yeah.
you guys.
I'm
Thank
now
you.
just going to go look at some jewelry and boxes.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
I know. I'm just gonna
It's really
browse.
addictive.
set my shopping list for next year, or maybe the next 10 years. We'll see. But thanks for listening, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and we love you to bits. And we can't wait to have you listening to the next podcast.
Yeah, please leave a review because it helps other people find the podcast. And yeah, no, I'm excited to put some socials
Oh,
out
yeah,
and
and-
showcase some of the jewelry online.
Yeah, and jot down if you have any actual idea creations that you would love to see.
I would love to hear.
Create. Yeah, and we'll
Please
see if
feel free to share.
you can get it done.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. That was Freedom Impact Trust. We hope you've enjoyed it. We've loved chatting once again. Please leave a comment below because it really helps the algorithm and helps get the podcast out there. And also, let us know if there's any financial questions which you want answering, and we can answer them in the pod next week. Like I said, share, like, comment, subscribe, and let everybody know about the podcast.
And thank you to our sponsors, FINT, the financial investment app, where you can invest from as little as £50 a month.
£50?
Yes, £50, Curtis.
Well, wow, it's an absolute bargain. And don't forget, it's through 3 different portfolios. So choose the one that you like and get investing.
Have a great day.
See you later, guys.